I want to start in the Lori Vallow courtroom today, and I want to tell you something. If you can't stand her because you think she's guilty, then you're probably going to really like this little detail I'm about to give you. I suppose I'm not surprised, though I'm always surprised when I hear this. She's smiling in that cruiser, not so much in the mugshots, and I don't think she's smiling a whole lot in court. And there's not a whole lot to smile about because she's facing 3 murder charges, right? And then a whole bunch of financial, charges from stealing money from the dead, that kind of thing. But there's nobody there. There's no one there for Lori. Nobody. She's got sisters, brothers, family, mom. She's got lots of family. They're not there. She's got a son that's not murdered or dead, and he's not there. And he's a grown man. He could make his way there. Got kids of his own. He's not there. Nobody seemingly is there for Lori. And the way it works is you have a courtroom, it's split in half. And usually the people who support the victim, they're on this half. And then the people who support the defendant, they're on this half. There's nobody for Lori. She is one lonely lady. And her husband, he's not there. He's in jail. He's going to be in his own trial on his own side of the court. And I think he's got people who are going to show up for him. His own kids don't seem to be too angry with him, even though he's accused of killing their mom. And the kids. I mean, please. So I also wanted to say that this is a day where we should be celebrating the little kids, their grandfather, Larry. Larry Vallow's, it's his birthday today. And this is how he spent his birthday, dealing with the trial of the woman accused of killing his grandkids. That happened. Detective Ray Hermosillo was on the stand yesterday, and he went back up on the stand today, and he talked about some things that I thought were super interesting. Not the least of which is a phone call, a phone call between Lori and Chad. And let me set the stage. Lori's in jail. She's been arrested off the Hawaii beach because she won't tell anybody where her kids are. And they're missing. And she won't produce the kids, so she's been jailed. She has not been charged with murdering them because they don't know the kids are dead yet. But the cops go to Chad's house and they start digging in his backyard. And Chad's sitting in his car watching this happen. And guess who calls him? That lady. She calls him from jail. And here's their conversation.
The
house right now?
Yeah. Mark Mills will be talking to you.
Okay. What, are they in the house?
No, they're out on the property.
Are they seizing stuff again?
They're searching. Instead of with the kids.
Okay.
Yeah. They tried to set up a call. Glad you called.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, no.
What do you want me to do? Pray.
What?
What do you want me to
Yeah,
do?
well,
Okay. What can I do for you?
I'm feeling pretty calm. I would call Marco, maybe. Just talk with him.
Have you talked to him already?
I did call him, yes.
So he knows what they're doing?
Yeah. It's like a call from somebody else I need to talk to. I love you so much.
Okay, I love you. Should I try to call you later?
I don't know. I don't know. We can try, yeah. I'll answer if I can.
Okay.
I love you, and we'll talk soon.
Okay, baby. I love you.
Okay. Love you. Good night.
Yeah, well, if she tried to call later, she probably couldn't get him because they arrested him right then and there. He actually took off. He started driving like a bat out of hell, and they chased him, and they caught him right then and there, right after that phone call. And then he went to jail, and he's been in there ever since because they found the dead kids in his yard. What you just saw was the preliminary where people were allowed in the courtroom, cameras were allowed in the courtroom, and you could see the reaction when they played that tape in his preliminary. And that was the tape they played today in Lori's trial. I want to bring in from outside the Ada County Courthouse, Lauren Matthias, host of the Hidden True Crime podcast, and Gigi McKelvey, host of the Pretty Lies and Alibis podcast. So I am always fascinated to hear how a jury reacts, guys, when they see and hear stuff like that. We couldn't see it today, but we could see it back then. What was it like in the courtroom?
You know, one thing that I noticed, Ashleigh, was they were listening intently. And I think that Gigi agrees. We were talking about this. They were listening to every word. They were curious. And I think that one thing that's really interesting about this call is what's not said rather than what's said. Chad lets his new wife know that they're searching. And she doesn't ask, well, why would they be searching? She's asking, okay, well, what can I do for you? I love you. Can I call you later? I mean, it is a fascinating call. What did you see with the jury, or what did you think?
Yeah, they were digesting that for sure. They were kind of listening, looking up at the ceiling, and then they would look at Lori. And I agree with her. You know, the first thing you do when you say you don't know where your kids are is, well, why would they be searching in the yard? Neither one of them said that. In fact, twice, Chad had to say, are they seizing stuff? And Chad says, they're searching the property. And she didn't get it. So he had to reiterate that twice to her. And so the jury, I don't think it was lost on them what was going on in that call.
Well, I certainly feel like this is me talking, I think she did get it. I think she did get it, and she knew she was on a recording, and she could only say things like, what should I do? Pray? So I find that conversation so fascinating. There's one other thing that was significant today, guys. They showed Tammy's autopsy pictures, you know, in the courtroom. And the detective said today that they witnessed Chad and Lori out and about around town holding hands. And that was one of the reasons they're like, okay, hold it. She just died. She's healthy. She's like in her 40s. And this guy's already like within a week or two out holding hands with this lady. We need to exhume. Tell me a little bit about how hard that was, that looking at the autopsy pictures of Tammy Daybell for this jury, because yesterday they had to see the horror of their lives with the children's remains.
Yeah, we learned a little bit more about how she was exhumed. And it wasn't actually the autopsy photos we saw, but we did see Tammy deceased dressed in religious clothing in her they were LDS temple clothes. And she was there, and we could see her. It was heartbreaking after seeing the children yesterday and Tammy today. It was very overwhelming to see. And you know, the jury. What did you think the jury saw when they were looking at Tammy and the removal of the vault too? They showed the removal of the vault and taking her out of the grave.
Yeah, they showed a progression of photos from just the backhoe waiting by the grave before they broke ground all the way through to the empty hole in the ground. And then just that overhead shot of her on the autopsy table in her temple garments. But what was interesting to me, too, is one thing that one of the detectives, the last person on the stand, testified to is that she only was on medication for depression, 2 different medications, and she was not somebody who went to the doctor regularly. So there was no sign that this 49-year-old had any heart disease or anything like that. It was 2 medications, both of those. And look, we think that Tammy Daybell knew about this affair. We think Charles Vallow was successful in contacting her or her own suspicions. But we've heard from Melanie Gibb, who was in this group, that Tammy did confront Chad about the affair. So I think that lack of medical condition, along with this public display 2 weeks after she's murdered, is why she was exhumed and now why we have murder charges. She did not die a natural death.
And it does make sense. I want to add to that. Oh, sorry.
Real quick.
I just want to add to that that Tammy's children and Chad have always stated that her health was failing her. So this really is an important piece of evidence.
Baloney. Yeah. I'm just going to call it baloney because everybody else who looked at her said she was absolutely fine and that she was a healthy 48, 49-year-old who, shockingly, just died in her sleep, and the kids didn't ask for an autopsy, neither did Chad. So I'm going to call baloney on that one. But, guys, I'm going to check in with you tomorrow to see when they bring up how she died, the asphyxiation part, because I think, I'm going to call it, I think they're going to find that her nose was pushed over, because I think she was probably asphyxiated maybe with a pillow. I'm just going to guess on that one. Either that, because they didn't find any drugs in her system where, you know, drug her and put a bag. And so I think they're going to look and maybe come up with the nose being pushed down from an asphyxiation. But Lauren, Matthias, and Gigi McKelvey, thank you again for doing all this work for us.